Get in on the action this season with Underdog's Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Yo to Bolt fam, it's the Director. Chargers fans, time has come, baby. I know there's a lot of opinions revolving around the yellow uniforms, which, by the way, I think we got confirmation that's going to be head-to-toe gold. You know what I mean, man? No blue socks, no blue accents, maybe outside the gloves. We're going to have ourselves the debut of the golden uniforms this Sunday. And, of course, I'm going to say right now, man, my feelings on the jersey has changed a lot since I ordered one for myself. I gotta say, they look pretty clean, dude. They will be debuting these uniforms in their game versus the Colts. It's the Colts versus the Bolts. A battle for the AFC. Should be a very interesting one. I am up and down on this game. Of course, you got the Colts who are powering through the NFL with Indiana Jones and company. And then the Chargers who are hobbling along, hoping to find some help along the way in terms of returning players who, again, this team's been absolutely decimated by injury. Should be interesting. I'm not counting the Chargers out on this one, but it will be an uphill climb for the Bolts. Let's get into it, man. Before we do, shout out to the sponsor, Underdog. Use code DIRECTOR. Play $5. Get 100 in bonus funds. It's an awesome way to jump into the platform and get involved. Here's some of my picks for the week. You guys hear this game's going to have some crazy like hurricane gusts and winds. I'm taking the lower on a lot of the passing there. For the Chargers game, give me more on Justin Herbert in the passing yards and then rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor. Great way to support my platform, have some fun along the way. Before we do kick off, hit us up with a like and sub. If you do enjoy this Chargers content, the small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notifications helps me out a lot. Let's get into it. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
Into the end zone, Charger fans are witnesses to history!
Your Bolts versus Colts week 7, game preview. A lot to go over on this one, man. Starting off with the laundry list of Chargers players on the injury report this week. Now, there's going to be a lot of this. You're going to see some rest for our veterans in there. Keenan Allen, Derwin James. He did have a wrist thing that they were looking at. It seems like he's okay there. Again, I don't even know where to start on this list, man. There are so many players. Let's just start with the ones that aren't practicing at all, okay? Get those out of the way. We got ourselves Bradley Bozeman, who I'm going to say gave us some speculation, we'll say, that Andre James may be starting this game. I know there's a lot of Chargers fans that have been waiting to see what that looks like on game day. Certainly don't like seeing Bozeman sick, but may open up opportunities for backup centers to get a shot at it. We also have not practicing Troy Dye, who's been an awesome linebacker for this team this year, filling in for Denzel Perryman, who, by the way, may be back this game. I don't know if you guys see down here, Denzel Perryman, he is getting those full practices in. We certainly could use his help in this one, slowing down Jonathan Taylor. Who else we got in here? Troy Dye. Elijah Molden also not practicing due to a thumb injury. That one, again, I'm kind of waiting to see if he's going to make it back because I would like to see him out there. Chargers are pretty deep at safety, but after trading away Alohi Gilman, I would hope to have majority of them out there. And then finally, Trey Pipkins still not practicing. Another one that gets me pretty worried at the state of the Chargers offensive line and their protection for Justin Herbert. Luckily, Jamari Sawyer has been getting some limited practice in. We can hope that he suits back up, because if not, man, we are still looking at some weird, configurations on that offensive line with, Deculus on the left side, and was it Bobby Hart last week? And man, it's just been an absolute mess out there in terms of the offensive line. So hopefully they can figure out a way to get that sorted out. Other guys to kind of keep an eye on. Let's see, limited. We got Khalil Mack, who has been officially, what do they do? What do they call it? They call it the 21-day activation window, right? Where they can declare that he's ready to return at some point in that time frame. We would be very lucky to see him back this week. That's all I'm going to say. From what I was seeing online, there was some video of him practicing. It seems like he may be a week out. He did mention that he feels like he could play right now, but ultimately it is up to the training staff, and getting him back sooner rather than later would be awesome. And then also up here, Joe Alt is also starting to get some limited practice in as well, which is an awesome sign. If I were to put money on it, if I was a director, when are we going to see these guys back? I would more than likely anticipate their return next week versus the Minneapolis Colts, which certainly both of these guys being back would be huge. Hopefully we see one or two of them back this week too, but that's kind of where I'm sitting. Quentin Johnston's getting these limited practices back, and hopefully he comes back soon too. Deion Henley dealing with a little bit of a groin injury as well. There's just so much to go over on this list, man, but I think we hit on most of it. Darius Davis, we are hoping to see back this game as well. The Chargers' return game has been pretty weird, unpredictable, inconsistent since Darius Davis hasn't been on the field the last, has it been 2 or 3 weeks now? So there you have it. Those are the Chargers' laundry list of actives, inactives. Of course, it's not Friday. That hasn't been released yet, so we don't know what the official word's going to be. We'll keep an eye out for that. As for the Indianapolis Colts, they do have a couple of guys, to kind of keep an eye on here. Concussion protocol still hasn't cleared as of Thursday. I don't know how the protocol officially lays out, but I think that means he's more than likely going to be missing this game. Just keep an eye out for Josh Downs. They got Ashton Doolin, Tyler Goodson also not practicing, and then down here at the bottom, Travarius Ward and Grover Stewart also not practicing, but you got some rest days in there to keep in mind as well. Outside of that, it looks like you're going to be seeing a majority of these guys back. The one I would kind of keep an eye on that may affect the game the most is this guy right here, Kenny Moore, who's been limited in practice this week with an Achilles injury. He is by far and away their best graded DB on the field right now, and if he's not out there, it may open up more opportunity for the Chargers to attack him through the air. All right, man, that just the injury report took like 5 full minutes. So many names to go through. Let's jump into the meat and potatoes of this game. Starting with, okay, I need you guys in the comment section. Let me know, type 1 in the chat if you are about the jerseys, if you like the yellow jerseys, and type 0 in the chat if you do not like the yellow jerseys, that they should never make a return. Here's what I'm going to say, okay? When the jerseys were revealed, okay, they had that cool video with these and the navies that are going to be worn next week, which, by the way, I will be at that game. I got a custom jersey of that Navy with Director on the back. If you guys want a chance to catch me in Thunder Alley, I'm going to be hanging out at the Die Hard Bolt Club canopy at Thunder Alley before the game, several hours before the game, if you guys want a chance to come say hi. Anyway, beforehand, when they first revealed these jerseys, I gotta say, I really did not like them. I was definitely not a fan. There were concepts coming out beforehand of the yellow jerseys, and it just wasn't for me. Okay, but I gotta say, man, it feels a lot different once you get a jersey in your hands. I to be honest, I ordered the jersey reluctantly because I was like, we're gonna wear it during Charger Power Week. We are going to represent the team every week to whatever they're doing, and as soon as I put it on, I was like, this is kind of sick. I like it. I can tell why NFL Mike's always wearing it when he's running around doing his TikToks and stuff like that. It definitely feels fresh in person. I'll also say, man, I gotta really hand it to the Chargers marketing team. I absolutely love the throwback design that they've done on the website. I think they did it on the app and stuff as well. This 60s Chargers vibe, I really feel it, dude. I have really enjoyed the Charger Power Week vibe this week, and I can only imagine how cool it's going to be back in the Superchargers era next week, man. I love the whole idea behind these throwbacks. Feels like a real throwback, for real, going into this week. So let me know what you guys think. I happen to like the yellow jerseys now, but it took some convincing and some in-person, testing to get to that point. Next up, let's talk a little bit about the stakes of this game. The Chargers-Colts, it's going to be a big one. The Chargers, of course, have been, kind of floating around the top of the AFC since week 3. Of course, they went 3 games without losing a single one, all versus division rivals, and that's pretty significant to their position in the division and now in the conference. funny enough, this game, of course, actually, let's start over here at the division real quick to kind of show you guys what's going on over here. Staying ahead of the Broncos is going to be the name of the game in this one. Who are they playing this week? We'll go grab that real quick as well. Because, of course, the Chargers now tied with the Broncos at 4-2. The only thing keeping us ahead at this point is the fact that we've won more division games, and, of course, we've beat them as well. Their schedule here, so they're going to be playing the Giants. They're playing the Giants on Sunday. So, I mean, that's one that, of course, you got to expect the Broncos are going to be favored in. So the Chargers, just to stay ahead in the AFC West, pretty important that they go out there and win this one. But, of course, the stakes get even higher as we look at the AFC conference as a whole. The way I understand it, whoever wins this game, Colts, Chargers, will remain at the top. Either the Colts remain at the top of the AFC, or the Chargers could jump them as the top team in the AFC. And that makes the stakes pretty high in this one in terms of, where they're positioned in their own division and where they're positioned in the conference. And then the Chargers know that. Hopefully these gold jerseys have some gold powers in them, man, because that would be huge. The stigma behind the Midnight Navy jerseys the last few years, you guys know what I'm talking about, with the outline of the Chargers bolt. That one stuck around for a long time. People started hating on those jerseys, even though I think the design was pretty fresh, because we simply could not win in them. Hopefully the Chargers find a different streak of success in their new jerseys this season. Of course, we're all pulling for the Navies, but I mean, it would be kind of fun to see Chargers fans change their mind about the gold jerseys because they simply just win in them. We can hope for that one because this is a pretty big game, tough game. Like I mentioned, it's not going to be an easy one by far for them to, in my opinion, climb the hill of being underdogs. I think you're going to see a lot of other areas and other sources favor the Chargers in this game, but I think the Colts, in my opinion, definitely have a step on the Chargers on this one, and we'll explain why as we continue in this narrative of the Chargers just missing so many pieces. Now, as we mentioned, there is a chance that the Chargers do see Khalil Mack back. I really think the chances of them seeing Joe Alt back are very, very low. But if we do get somebody back, it would be Khalil Mack. But that's kind of been the story of this team the last couple of weeks. I'm going to say since the moment Joe Alt went down in that Giants game, that's been the story of this season. Chargers players dropping like flies. We are missing pieces all over the roster, especially concentrated in certain positions, offensive line being the biggest one. And it really feels like this team hasn't quite gotten right since then. Yes, we grabbed that win versus Miami last week. I think we just held in there long enough for Justin Herbert to work his magic. And, of course, we saw a big game from Kamani Vidal. Much different situation this week, by the way. The Colts very good versus the run. This is going to be in my opinion, unfortunately, a big determining factor here. Whether or not the Chargers can overcome the adversity of missing many of their star pieces. They were able to do it last week, like I said. Hopefully they're able to do it again this week. I do see some hope on the roster in these positions that we're missing. Let's say we don't get Khalil Mack back. We did see Odafe Owe look really good in pass rushing last week. Of course, he did struggle a bit in terms of run containment. But he did look really good going after the quarterback. In terms of the offensive line, maybe, Jamari Sawyer makes his way back and he can play tackle, which would definitely be an improvement in my opinion versus, a Deculus or a Bobby Hart. So we can move the needle in this narrative, but right now that still is kind of the front of my mind. Like, can we withstand, this Colts team, which is really good on all fronts, while missing so many players? And again, it is possible, but it's going to be a tough one to overcome. Now, talking about the Colts and how good they really are, this team has been on fire this season. They have won 5 of their last 6 games. They have scored the most points per game. What are we looking at? It's points per game, 32.3, which is first in the NFL. I will say, in terms of their offense, the one saving grace here for the Chargers, which, again, I don't know how much weight it holds, but is the fact that they have gotten this versus weaker defenses for the most part, the Colts, right? So they've played teams like Arizona, Vegas, Miami, and they've, I think, inflated their stats a little bit because the only 2 good defenses that they've played have been the Broncos and the Rams. All right. And in those games, they almost dropped the game versus the Broncos. I remember they got real close to losing that one. And they actually did end up losing to the Rams at SoFi Stadium. Maybe the Chargers can keep that going, keeping the Colts winless at SoFi this year. But it is still very, very tough because, of course, they still did beat the Broncos, who are a very good defense this season. The Rams did narrowly beat them at SoFi despite, having the good defense. And the Chargers, now you can enter their name into the fold of harder defenses that they're going to play this year. Is it going to be the best defense they play against this year? Maybe. I would say there's a couple of teams in their schedule that are probably better than the Chargers. But that is the one thing that kind of helps me hold on to hope that we're not going to see this average of 32.3 points because we're not the Dolphins defense or we're not the Cardinals or the Raiders defense. The Chargers defense is much better than a majority of the defenses that they have played this season. And I think it does open up a small window for the Chargers to try and wedge themselves in as the victors this week. Chargers defense has been very, very good this season for the most part, okay? Especially, I'm going to say, their biggest calling card in 25 has been their efficiency versus the pass. Derwin James, the safeties especially have been so good. Derwin, Elijah Molden when he's been out there. Tony Jefferson has been amazing as usual, even in his later age. And then R.J. Mickens, the new guy, stepping up, has looked awesome as well. Corners have looked surprisingly good as well. Tarheeb's still, maybe Cam Hart's been a little bit, struggling versus some big plays. But we do have Benjamin St. Juste, who's been an awesome addition this offseason. Surprisingly, again, a lot of fans would probably be like, what are you talking about, director? But if you go look at his grades, he's been pretty dang good in coverage this season. One of the top, I think, 4 DBs in coverage. He doesn't have as many snaps as some of the biggest players at the position this year, but he does have well over like 120 or 130, somewhere like that, and he's graded out very, very well. So the Chargers DB group has been very, very good, allowing under 180 yards passing per game. They're one of the top defenses in the league with that stat. That is going to be something that helps us out this week versus Daniel Jones specifically. Daniel Jones has been insanely good. A weird reality that we live in, right? We kind of see one or two of them every year now, since Geno Smith going to the Seahawks. Then we saw Sam Darnold in the Minnesota Vikings. Probably the best example of it in recent years has been Baker Mayfield to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're just seeing these quarterbacks find new life and new environments. This year, it's Daniel Jones, and he has been insane in Indianapolis, and the Chargers, fortunately, do have an answer for him through the air, which is going to be something that, they're going to have to really lean on this week. The defense is going to be a big, big determining factor in whether or not they win this game. Unfortunately, there is one part of their defense that has me very worried, and that's going to be their run defense. The last couple of weeks have been pretty brutal in terms of the Chargers slowing down the run. Corey Krosky-Merritt with the Bills, or excuse me, not his name is Bill, with the Commanders, went for over 100 yards his game. Devon Achane, I think, had 120 yards in his game and the touchdown. This is going to be a really tough one considering we're about to go up against Jonathan Taylor, who is maybe one of the best running backs this season, averaging over 100 yards per game. He's got 7 touchdowns so far. I drafted him in a lot of fantasy leagues. I can tell you, I've been very happy with him on my team this season. Not so excited to see him this week, especially with the Chargers struggling recently to contain the edge, right, to set the edge. The Chargers, I've seen 3 touchdowns come from the same play over the last 2 weeks, and it's been this very simple outside zone run to the left side, where the Chargers just can't seem to set the edge if their life depended on it, right? I think we've seen Thule get beat. I think we saw Owe get beat once last week too. It has been absolutely a mess. If you're a opponent of the Chargers and you're wondering how to score on them, and you've got Jonathan Taylor of all players on your team as well, and you see that the Chargers have let up that particular play 3 times, I think the name of the game this week is going to be run as fast as you can. The Chargers can't set edges, so why not do it? Every other play, especially in the red zone and up against the goal line. It's been a big weakness of the Chargers the last couple of weeks. I hope they have found an answer. I saw them attempting to do that last week versus the Dolphins. I think they put Derwin in the X position, which is kind of like that edge, that additional edge, or even like a blitzing slot. And even with that, they weren't able to get any containment on that side. So I don't know, man. That's going to be really, really tough. I hope the Chargers have an answer for that, because if not, it's going to be very difficult to stop what's already a really good offense. Okay, not to mention a big reason why Jonathan Taylor has been so good is you take a look at their situation at offensive line, man. They've got some dogs in there, dude. This has got to be one of the higher graded offensive lines we're going to play all season. They got Raymond, Nelson, Bordellini. That left to middle of that line is absolutely insane. And then the right side's not even that bad either. If you guys compare this, I wasn't planning on showing this, but if you guys compare this to the Chargers offensive line, holy cow, man, we are in for a rough time. Now, they have Alton here right now, which, of course, I don't think he's playing. If you were to put Deculus in there, he's graded in and around like the low 40s. All right, so keep that in mind. The Chargers line has been just absolutely putrid this year in comparison, but the real focus here is that Colts offensive line. They are very, very good. We're going to need help from hopefully Khalil Mack, who's back this week. Thule's going to have to turn it on. Oweh. You're going to imagine the Chargers trying to attack that right side of the line more than the left. Their left side's been absolutely crazy good. We're going to need some help this week. I think the Chargers DBs are really good at capitalizing on mistakes of the quarterback when pressured. The Chargers are really going to need help from that unit. And hopefully and luckily, we've seen a bit of improvement since Odafe Oweh has been added to the equation in terms of pass rushing. We can hope that he does make a good performance this week to help us out there. All right. Finally, last couple of points to make here. Colts defense is also really, really good. This is something that, again, makes the Chargers' life a little bit more difficult. They've allowed just 19 points per game. Of course, you got to take into account the offenses that they've played. Like I've mentioned, they've played some bad teams: Miami, Raiders, Cardinals, etc. That number, again, is probably a little bit dramatic. The Chargers, I do expect to score more than 19 points for sure, but just keep in mind their pass rush has been really good. Most facets of their defense has been very exceptional. There is one area, however, where the Chargers can attack that I think they would have the edge, and that's going to be versus their secondary. The Chargers' passing game is really good right now. Outside of the protection, which we're going to get into in a second, the Chargers have the quarterback in Justin Herbert. They have surprisingly a competent, a slew of weapons surrounding Herbert in terms of, wide receiver, even tight end now with Oronde Gadsden really stepping up. We have the tools to make it happen. And the Colts, one weakness on defense right now that I'm seeing is their secondary. Their DBs grade pretty poor outside of Kenny Moore. I think Kenny Moore has been graded in terms of like the low 80s. He's been very good. But remember what we saw at the top of the episode, man, in the injury report. Like, what's going on with Kenny Moore? We don't have any official word here. If he's out, that does really push the narrative of pass as much as you can if you're the Chargers. The Colts are going to know this, though. They know their own weaknesses and strengths, and they're going to try and mask them as best they can. And if the Chargers' O-line really is still as bad as it's been in weeks past, you can expect a lot of blitzing, very little time for Justin Herbert to get the ball out. Same story, different game as the last 3 or 4 games for the Chargers, having missed Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater and everybody else. So, again, this is the angle I would take this week, but a lot of it does come down to whether or not the Chargers offensive line can hang in there, okay? The only hope I have that could be the case is the fact that we did see it last week versus Miami. Now, Miami has a pretty okay, if not bad, pass rush, so it's not something I was expecting, to be this big thing. But the Chargers did do a good job at slowing him down. This week, though, versus the Colts, they got Kwity Paye. They got, is it Liatalafu, right? The guy out of UCLA, right? We were talking about him in the draft. He's been really good this week, too, or this year, too. There is a lot going on in terms of the the Colts that are way better than the Dolphins. Obviously, one of those opponents we talked about being not good for the Colts, also not good for the Chargers, but we were able to survive that game. It's very important that the O-line sees some improvement this week because I think that's our only wedge in to win this one. If the Chargers O-line can hang in there, maybe we do see Andre James get his first start, and maybe he does see a big bump at the position. I would say that this is what to expect, okay? Chargers fans, just to kind of set your expectations to a realistic level with Andre James, in my opinion. I think if Andre James were to start, you are going to see pretty similar pass protection as you would from Bradley Bozeman. I don't know how much of an improvement you're going to see from Andre James, but I would say that the run blocking should be a lot better. That's something that he has been very good with since his days with Josh Jacobs and the Raiders. That is something that I think that we would see a dramatic improvement on. But hey, who knows? Maybe we do see this awesome bounce back from the position in terms of pass blocking too from Andre James, which would be awesome. But we don't even know if it'll be him. It might still be Bradley Bozeman. Either way, can they do it again? Can they survive a game where they just do just enough to keep our head above water and give Justin Herbert just enough time to get to, Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnston, who hopefully is back this week, Gadsden, and even Kamani Vidal on the flat. There's a lot of options. He just needs a little bit of time. Maybe the Chargers can make it happen. So to wrap this up, my score prediction for this one in the Charger power game, golden jersey game, I got them Chargers 23, Colts 24. In a very, very, very close game. And let me be very crystal clear here. I know Chargers fans hate it when I don't pick us, and it's fair. Okay, I get that. But the margins here are very razor thin. Okay, this is something that I think with a few adjustments, the Chargers could beat the odds and take down Indianapolis. But, you got to get a couple of things to go your way. I think the biggest one is the offensive line. And then, of course, the defense finding a little success versus the Colts offensive line. If you can find a little bit of a wedge here and there, I think the Chargers' chances to overcome that are very realistic. That's why I only have them, with a difference of 1 point between the two of them. And I have faith that could happen. But till then, you really got to weigh the situation of each position group and the injuries. And, is Matt going to be back? Is Alt going to be back? A lot of unknowns. That's kind of where I sit. Do I think they're going to lose definitively? No. I think there's an absolute chance that they can come back and win this one. But it would be, with some extra effort from players at a particular position. So you guys let me know your score predictions in the comment section below. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Hit us up with a like and sub on your way out if you did enjoy this content. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up, stay frosty, embrace the gold. I like gold.